Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Chris Asbrock here from Impact Sports Cincinnati, fieldtheimpactsports.com. I am back once again for another year of my post-game reactions here after the Bengals, after each Bengals game. A lot of success from last year, and chose to kind of bring that back this year. That yeah, this one's an interesting one. It started off Bengals Colts week one, and I wrote. I'll be the first one to admit in my. Let's see. I've got comments on here as well, so I might have to read some on the way through. But I'll be the first one to admit I didn't think this game would be close. I truly didn't believe it would be close at all, and it was. It was a lot different than I expected. That's plain and simple. Kind of going through everything, and you see the way the Bengals played here. I was kind of going through the stats. You see, the game starts off. Andy Dalton throws that pick after Billy Price got completely blown up on that play, and it was picked, and it was not something you would have expected here from Cincinnati Bengals. And like I said, I was the first one. I'll be the first one to admit I didn't think the game would be close. I truly didn't. I picked 24-7 Bengals victory. I thought the Bengals their defense would be a lot stronger. Obviously, that was not the case today. There's a couple different factors that that kind of went into everything. But in a game like this, you have to you got to kind of look at the bigger picture. The bigger picture on this one was a victory, and that's what we have to kind of roll with that, and we got to be thankful for that, for the love of God. I mean, after everything that was kind of dealt to us, this season already, and like I said, we're only a game in, and we've been dealt with some pretty big blows here with whether it be the penalties or Sean Williams getting ejected, and Sean Williams, he's a walking personal foul. I believe he led the league last year with 16 personal fouls. I mean. That kind of stuff cannot happen. I know, I saw a lot of people complaining about the penalty on Sean Williams. Guys, that's what we're going to see here in the NFL now. I disagree. I think it's a crap penalty. I think football should be played, let football be football. But that's how it is, and that's if they went by the way of the rule and he was ejected, and I'm fine with that simply because that's how it's written. I might not like it, but you kind of lead and hit hits it head. That's just how it is. Jesse Bates I thought played very well today. Obviously he was the reason why George Iloka was let go. George Iloka, he went to Minnesota, and I haven't checked up on how he was today, but. Jesse Bates, they had a lot of faith in Jesse Bates, and they did a great job with, making that move and moving forward and putting all that faith in the rookie. And I thought he came through really well today. He looked really good. Overall defensively today, the guys looked gassed. I mean, they really looked gassed today. I got to give Andrew Luck credit. He was 39 of 53. He did have two touchdowns and an interception, but he had 319 yards passing today. Andrew Luck did a really good job of getting the ball out pretty quick. He was under pressure a lot, which is what I expected. However, I didn't think he was under as much pressure as I was expecting him to be. I thought he was going to be under a lot all game. But he did a great job. Knowing that the offensive line was as weak as it was, I got to give Frank Reich credit for getting the ball out of Andrew Luck's hands, relatively quickly, and not letting that Bengals, vaunted defensive line get to him. And I mean, they hit him a lot, but you have to look at what was going on here. And like I said, Andrew Luck did a great job of getting the ball out quickly. I mean, both teams were heavily penalized. It was definitely a first game, situation here where both teams didn't play the best. The Bengals had 27 minutes of possession, just over 27 minutes, and the Colts had 32, almost 33 minutes. So, both offenses were on the field for a good amount of time. Like I said, the Bengals defense they were gashed a little bit. They were gassed. Andrew Luck, like I said, had a very successful day. Wilkins, He had 14 rushes for 40 yards. His longest was 12 yards. Hines and then Michael were the only other ones that actually had rushes out of the backfield. Andrew Luck did have a rush, which was the ended up being the penalty. But the Bengals did a great job of holding the Colts to relatively nothing in the rushing game. Doyle, he had 7 receptions for 60 yards. Grant and Ebron had over 50. T.Y. Hilton had a touchdown. He brought in 5 receptions for 46 yards and that touchdown. Ebron did have that one touchdown to where Jordan Evans looked lost as all hell. I was watching the game with Nick, and we were just trying to figure out what the hell was going on with Jordan Evans on that play as well. Just the simple plays like that, cannot happen. Got to make plays, and unfortunately we didn't in some aspects, but in some ways we did. Right at the end of the game, Clayton Fedulum, that guy stepped in, admirably for Sean Williams and did a great job. But overall, win's a win. I'm not real happy with it. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm not thrilled with it. They didn't play as well as I thought they should and would. And obviously, like I said, I'm not real happy about it because we have a short week, and you're going to be facing now a Baltimore team that hung over 40 points on Buffalo. Granted, Buffalo isn't very good. Well, hell, nobody thought the Colts were either. Look what happened there. So, granted, Baltimore was at home. The Bengals were not. The Bengals do have the advantage on a short week having to play at home, so that does help out a lot. But, things got to get a little better. Offensively, I thought the I thought they looked really good offensively. They were shooting themselves on the foot a lot early on in this game. That's why, nothing seemed to go right for them. Just simply because they weren't making plays. Like I said, they were shooting themselves in the foot. AJ Green, what the hell? He fumbles 2 balls, lost 1, and that right there, the first one led to a touchdown. Andy Dalton, like I said, one of the first, his first throw was a pick. Bengals defense, came back and made a play there. Preston Brown getting the interception back. But Andy Dalton, he was 21 of 28, 243 yards. He had 2 touchdown passes and an interception. Overall, I thought it was a solid day by Dalton. He was under pressure a lot. The offensive line definitely showed their weakness. That's one thing we did know that would happen. But, it could have been a hell of a lot worse than what it was. Joe Mixon, 17 rushes for 95 yards, and he did have that touchdown. His longest rush was 27 yards, and that was one he had on the sideline there. Andy Dalton, 2 rushes for 8 yards. So he was, he was mobile again. He made some plays with his legs and able to extend it out a few plays. So certain things like that, the big plays in the course of the game. And Giovanni Bernard had a rush. He was minus 2 yards. So it's Joe Mixon's team now. If you're talking about running the football, it's Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon's our guy, and as well he should be. He's a physical specimen who flat out can run. And he adds a lot. He's a weapon out of the backfield. And that was evident today. AJ Green, he's AJ Green. He did drop a few balls today that, I shook my head out a little bit, and obviously he had the 2 fumbles, which, again, enough to make you shake your head. But AJ, again, another big day, 6 receptions, 92 yards. He had that 38-yard touchdown reception, which was, gorgeous, where he laid out for it in the end zone. Fantastic. Joe Mixon, another 5 receptions for 54 yards. Tyler Eifert, he's back. He had 3 receptions for 44 yards. His longest was 29. Tyler Boyd, once again, you can't say much more about Tyler Boyd. The dude just continues to step up. He had 3 receptions. He had 26 yards receiving. Giovanni Bernard, Tyler Kroft, C.J. Uzomah, and then John Ross. Congratulations! His first true NFL touchdown here on the regular season. That was beautiful on the great fade. Great fade. Andy Dalton laid it right on in there for him. It was fantastic. So The Bengals overall, it was interesting. Pete Morelli was the head referee, and his crew had a couple questionable calls. I will say that. I'm not gonna lie. The two roughing the passer penalties on Carlos Dunlap, I completely disagree. I think they were complete bullshit calls. I'm gonna stand by that. The one where he hit Andrew Luck's legs and Luck went down. That's a cheap call to me. I'm gonna stand by that. And then the roughing the passer where it's the body weight. Come on NFL. Like, you guys are better than that. What are you supposed to do? How are you supposed to tackle somebody on a sack like that? I thought that was, that's a tough call to make. And I felt bad for Carlos Dunlap because he played out of his mind today in a lot of situations, and he looked good. Nick Vigil looked very good. Like I said, Jesse Bates, I got to give him props. William Jackson looked good. It was quite the interesting game today. It truly was. They were tied at 3 after the first quarter. After trading field goals, Randy Bullock nails the first one. It was a 42-yarder, and then Adam Vinatieri. I'm going to stay. That he's the best kicker in the history of the game. Obviously him and Morton Anderson are right there. But then the wheels kind of fell off, in the second quarter for the Bengals, and that's when, Eric Ebron, like I had mentioned, had that 26-yard touchdown reception on a 7-play, 58-yard drive, to where Jordan Evans, like I said, lost his all hell. He had no idea what was going on there around him. And then, Vinatieri, added to a lead with a 38-yarder. But then that's when, John Ross was able to haul in that one reception. But then the Bengals, after that 5-play, 75-yard drive, it took just a minute 17. And then right after that, the Bengals left some time, and Andrew Luck drives the Colts right on down. And then Adam Vinatieri, hits a 51-yard field goal to extend the lead to make it. I mean, at this point, it was 16-10 going into halftime, which, it felt like it was a lot worse than that. But, like I said, the Bengals defense, when you give the Colts, or give any team regardless, I mean, Andrew Luck, I didn't think was going to be very good today. I truly didn't. The guy hasn't played for God's sakes, he hasn't played in over a full year. His last game was January 1st of 2017. So, I didn't think he was going to be very good, and major props to him. Andrew Luck looked, he looked good. I thought he made some great throws. Again, that's where, the credit, they were able to get the ball out of his hands quickly, and that's where a lot of that was coming from there. But, he drives them right down the field, 8 plays, 43 yards in a minute and 42 to set up a field goal. Otherwise, it's 13-10 at the half, and it's not as bad. It did feel a lot worse just simply because the Bengals at that point in time were not playing very well. Like I said, defensively, they couldn't make a stop on defense, it seemed like. I got to find the actual third down stat, which is absolutely maddening to me. I was fuming about that. I got to find it here. Oh, third down efficiency here. This is why the Bengals defense was gassed. They did a great job of forcing the Colts into third down situations. They had 17 third downs faced. The problem was the Bengals gave up 11 first downs on that. 11 of 17, that's 65%. You can't expect any team to do much defensively if you're going to give up 11 first downs on third downs. That kind of stuff cannot happen. That's something that this Bengals defense has to get corrected ASAP, because you can't expect your defense to make many plays when that kind of situation arises. You just cannot let a team get 11 first downs on third down. That simply cannot happen. The Bengals were 50% on third downs. They were 4 of 8. Colts had 24 total first downs. And think about that, 24. And just a little less than half of those were on third down. So that's I mean, and that's saying something right there. And then 3 of those were by penalty. Obviously, the 2 roughing the passers. Those were, those right there were huge moments in the game. And then, the Bengals were able to, they were able to overcome that obviously with their defensive play later on in the game. But, it's looking back on it. I mean, the stats don't look too bad. I mean, overall, it's kind of, I didn't think it would be, like I said, I simply didn't think it would be this bad for the Bengals defense going into it facing in my personal opinion, a weakened Colts offense. They just weren't very strong. He had a lot of injuries. But like I said, got to give a lot of credit here to Frank Reich, who did a great job of knowing the injuries that he had on his team. He was able to move the ball quickly by getting the ball out, out of Andrew Luck's hands fast. And that's simply what it was there. And, I got to give him a lot of credit for it because, it almost, the Bengals are the superior team talent-wise, plain and simple. You can't tell me that, you can't tell me otherwise. It's just not, I'm not going to have any of it. The Bengals are simply a better team talent-wise, both offensively and defensively. But that's what it comes down to is coaching, is where Frank Reich did a great job of adjusting and knowing the weaknesses in this situation, and he was able to coach to that. And that right there, that's what it's all about. And I got to give him, full credit for it because he was able to make a game that shouldn't have been very close. He made it very close until the very end. And, if it wasn't for a great defensive play by Clayton Fedulum, I should say, with the fumble, the forced fumble, and then the return for a touchdown, I firmly believe the Bengals lose that game. Andrew Luck was driving them right down the field, and you could kind of feel it was an situation all over again. That's how it felt, and nobody that I know was pretty confident about winning that game right at the end. Nobody was until you saw Fedulum strip that ball and take it to the house. Other than that, it was one of those situations to where, the confidence just wasn't there. The Bengals, every single drive, the Bengals, looking here at the ball possession, the drive chart, the Bengals did not start a drive in the Colts, side of the field at all. The Bengals had 10 drives. Started off with an interception on, it was a 2-play drive to start off, and, it was an interception. Obviously that, that right there didn't go very well. But the Bengals started off, their average start was at their own 26-yard line. Again, they only had 2 drives over 10 plays. They did have the one, looking here, they had, they only had 3 drives over, make that 4 drives over 6 plays. Now, granted, one of those was a touchdown. That was a 7-play drive. That was the touchdown right at the end by, let me see here. That was the touchdown by, let's see here. That was the one by Joe Mixon right at the end. That was, sorry, my computer was kind of refreshing there. But right before that, the Bengals, they, looking at it here, they didn't do a very good job. After going 3 and out to start off the half, the Bengals only had 3 drives after that. That's it. They were held relatively quick, by the Colts. They were held, a 2-minute drive. It was a 3 and out. The Bengals had 3 plays, minus 3 yards, just on yards gained, but then they had the 5-yard penalty. That's where it was, minus 8 net yards on that first drive of the second half. That kind of stuff right there can't happen, especially when you hold the Colts to, a 3-and-out. You can't do that, because then the Colts went right back down and then scored after that, that other drive. But overall, I'm looking at it, it was an interception to start off, and then a field goal, and then the A.J. Green fumble. The Bengals punted, and then they did score the touchdown right before the end of the half there. That was the John Ross, touchdown catch. And then to start the second half was the punt. But then after that, the Bengals got points. And that is what you have to do. You have to at least get 3 points after every drive, and that's what the Bengals did. Because then if you look here at the Colts drives, they had the interception, obviously, to start their drive by Preston Brown. Then they got the field goal, the touchdown, and then 2 field goals to end the half. But then starting out in the second half, it was nothing. They couldn't get anything going. 3-and-out to start off the second half. But then they did get the touchdown, and then a missed field goal, and then a punt, and then the fumble, and that was it. And that fumble was a return for a touchdown. So the Bengals obviously did a great job of finally coming out in the second half and adjusting and getting, and making plays, because that was not happening in the first quarter, in the first half. They just couldn't. They weren't getting anything done. And Marvin Lewis, I think overall was outcoached in the aspect of the way Andrew Luck was handling things. I thought Frank, like I said, I'm going to give Frank Reich credit for getting the ball out of Andrew Luck's hands. That's where Marvin Lewis has to adjust and get, he was rotating a lot of guys in and out on defense. You could see the defensive line was constantly being rotated in and out, just simply because they were not getting the pressure to them. And when they were, it seemed like there was a flag every time they hit Andrew Luck. But, overall, a win's a win. I'm going to wrap it up here now. But, again, a win's a win. It was a tough one. The Bengals were able to get it done. And it's not exactly how we expected the first game of the season to go. Now, 34-23. Again, I picked 24-7. I thought it was going to be a blowout. Bengals truly escaped Lucas Oil Stadium with a victory. In some aspects, they didn't deserve to win, especially the way they played the first half. But got to give them credit. Good teams find a way to come away with a victory, and that's what the Bengals did this game here. Now you're off a short week here. You got to get off now and get things going, because you got the Baltimore Ravens, who won 47-3. They're coming into your place to open up your home schedule on Thursday Night Football, and we know how the Bengals play in prime time. So we're hoping we can, get something going here. But overall, good win for the Bengals. That was a tough, hard-fought win. They got it done. They had the cojones to continue to battle and get it going. Huge victory to start off. Good for the Bengals. It was tough, but glad. Like I say, glad they got it done. Thank you guys for tuning in here for this live stream. I'm gonna start doing this at every year, or every game, I should say. I didn't stream live last time. I did it more on Periscope, but I'm just gonna go from YouTube here. So thank you guys, as always, for checking out the videos. Truly appreciate it. Make sure you check out FeelTheImpactSports.com for the week preview coming up here for the Baltimore Ravens game. I should have that up hopefully no later than Wednesday. I'm going to start working on that now, probably tonight or tomorrow, and get that up, like I said, no later than Wednesday, I'm hoping. So other than that, follow me on Twitter at I am Chris Asbrock, and you can also check us out on Twitter. Our football Twitter for Impact Sports Cincinnati is it's Horse Collar Tackle. It should be Horse Collar FB, I think, off the top of my head. I got so many Twitter accounts, it's crazy here. But follow me personally at I am Chris Asbrock. And again, check out FeelTheImpactSports.com for a lot of the reaction. I'm hoping to get some more stuff up there. As always, thank you guys so much, and I truly appreciate your support, and have yourselves a fantastic rest of your weekend. Thanks, guys. Bye.